this week's video. Last week I talked about getting back into art books and making longer videos as promised by me. And I mentioned that I was planning on starting off with the art book for the Elden Ring game. This art book only contains 40 pages, so it's a really thin book, and I think it's a great start for me to get back into longer videos. As you might have known, I've been quite busy dealing with a lot of stuff. I am pretty tired and exhausted. I went to the doctors about my lungs, and to be quite honest, it's not looking good. They don't quite know what it is, but I have a very low lung capacity, so I'm trying to figure that out. I'm making as long videos as I possibly can right now. Here on the cover we can see Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. And the print continues all over the backside. A viewer asked if I also could do a little unwrapping of this item. As you can see, it's really shiny. It's because it's still covered in the fabric plastic, so I'm gonna open that with an X-Acto knife. Elden Ring is a game I really enjoy. The atmosphere of the game and also the lore is very nice. So I really hope that this will be a relaxing video for you. And I hope you can appreciate this art book together with me. Thank you so much for everyone that is new here and the older viewers who still watch my content. It brings me a lot of joy, and I want to thank you in these hard times. But I want you to sit back and relax and enjoy this unwrapping and walk through of the art book of the Elden Ring game. Thank you. We have to be very careful not to damage the book. It can be quite difficult to get everything on camera sometimes because I don't want to cut the pages. Nothing got damaged while opening the pages of the book with the X-Acto knife. Then we can finally get into this lovely book. It's only 40 pages. I wish it was longer, but I think this will be an amazing experience anyways. I love the feeling of being the first one opening up a book. And I wish you could just feel the sentence of this new book. It smells entirely new. The Art of Elden Ring. Here are the first pages. it says fields. Here is the art that is also inside of the steel casing of the collector's editions. And we also got a print of this artwork with the Elden Tree looming over the kingdom. In a dark, dark sky, you can only see the light from the Elden Tree. Just look at all the detail of the artwork. Here we can see a warrior riding up the mountains on a horse. There's this ocean or sea beneath, just coming into the shore, the hard crashing waves. I love how the landscapes in Elden Ring look so gloomy and dark. It would be really hard to reach this castle or kingdom. Over here are some really dark artwork. I hope you can see it. Here is inside some fortress with the dead trees with barely no leaves, no life. And down inside a little dungeon, someone is cooking over a stove. Maybe one of the only few hideabouts in this world. Here we can see a broken land. The walls of the kingdom is entirely shattered and broken. The ground as well. The tombstones are falling over each other almost. It might be a cathedral of some sort. The trees are dead and no one is tending to the graves and letting the dead rest in peace. This universe is so dark and gloomy. I've already said it, but I will say it once again. I love that kind of stuff. Just look how realistic they have painted the fog. It looks like a swamp type of land. Maybe it's a sea or ocean or lake over here. It's quite dark, but I can see the reflection of the trees. So I think it's a lake. And the fog is coming over the lake. Here we can see a player character, probably the warrior, exploring the lands, the very unforgivable lands of Elden Ring. We can see ruins as well, and the big kingdom or castles in the far distance. I really love how they make the fog over the water, but this is also quite common in swamp areas in real life. I guess it comes with the water. The developer must have had so much fun creating these artworks if they made it before creating the game. Just imagine sitting together as a project and creating a world with rich lore and backstory and history. just creating the aesthetic of the game. Here we can see, looks like an entrance to an old fallen kingdom. You can see the player once again. And here is probably a lot of hung traitors from the bridge. People who might have done something unforgivable, or just being set as an example for others to follow. There's a very gothic feeling this game, with all of the buildings looking quite cathedral, going up through big cliffs and mountains, with spiky tops and narrow bridges. Here is inside of a big room. We can see lit candles, an open flame, big chandeliers not with any lights in them, and a bunch of broken glass on the ground. A place abandoned by most. Just some crazy heretics staying in this damned world. Here we can see the warrior once again. Some more tombs, or what looks to be tombs. A lot of this gothic artwork, darkness and grime, emptiness. Here we can see a skeleton still on his throne, with the hordes of other skeletons and undeads trying to reach its lord. Coming up from the waters. Imagine to stumble across something like this in real life. Imagine how you would react. Maybe with wonder, maybe with fear, or maybe with a bit of both. Here is inside of a underground cavern temple. You can see it's underground. Here's the light coming through maybe an exit, and all of the cavern spikes coming through the roof. These beautiful made statues looking over. But this place is already abandoned since a long time ago. Here we have some characters. As you might see, we have this, it looks like a horse, but it might be a bull or a cow. The character's clothing looks to be quite good. Harder armor for the more sensitive areas, the chest, the groin, shoulders and neck, and warmer chainmail through the legs, and cloth to keep warm in all different weather. Here we have some more of the NPCs of the game. There's not a lot of friendly NPCs in the game of Elden Ring, so you often tend to care about the few ones you meet. This NPC has no other chainmail, no plate, used cloth. Some more of the different ones. A lot of dried blood, darkness and crime. Here we have some of the scholars with the big iron helmets. Just look at the frail feet and legs. You can imagine how skinny this person is under all of this. The hands and arms are withering away, so just imagine the weight of this iron helmet. Here is a lot of interesting design ideas they had and went through. This type of medieval clothing where you would fold different layers and sew them together. I can't quite remember what this type of design is called, but it's quite medieval and with a big larger witch hat. They have a lot of interesting ideas that they blended together. There is an NPC with a mask covering its face and a veil, but covered in blood. I really like how different they made every single character design. Mostly if it's not a repeatable NPC. Most times in games nowadays they are just recolors of each other or use the same base model. But I found that in Elden Ring they make a lot of different base models that they work from. Here we can see the same technique on the pants, this medieval folding. But the rest of the armor seems to be torn up. Some more of these religious looking outfits, longer gowns that has some embroidery meaning something, and a mask to cover the face. We have some characters with delicate dresses. You can see the lace in the dress even on this little artwork. Just the details are amazing. You can see the borders, you can make out the fabric, you can even see what parts are beaded. I would love to be able to make clothing like this in real life. Not only for cosplay, but just imagining the handcraft and being able to make beautiful garments from hand. Here we have some more knight-looking armor, very regal. A long cloak with silver details. A plate helm with a long spire, probably some gems in it as well. Even the shoulder/chest piece is covered with silver and gemstones. Precious material in a world like this. And then we're on to the weapons. A flaming sword. As a guide. I have always wondered, are these very usable in combat? I wonder how you would use it, since this, the outside might be the dull side. isn't the sharpened side the inside? I think the easiest way to attack an enemy with this weapon is coming from behind, slashing a part of them. But I wonder how usable it would be, especially when the backside has this harder thorns looking like fire, but those could easily break. I wonder how tactical it would be. A smaller blade made for heavy damage on impact. And these big bloody long swords, they look really heavy to carry with you. We have some more, bigger stuff maybe. Looks to be an ungodly hand. A hand that can be quite demonic, holding us fair. Some more of these axes. This looks either like a fish or maybe a flame-throwing dragon. You can see the eye, the beak, the teeth, and the blade coming out. Just imagine how hard it would be to create a weapon like this in real life from the materials you need. Here is also blade, and you can see every little detail on the handle and the long blade covered. Looks like maybe to be rot, but it might be just how it's embellished with different gems. Here is this long clean sword, not a drop of blood, with some inscriptions all along the blade. Delicately made. You can see the shape of a woman and maybe a phoenix on the handle. Very beautiful. I could just look all day on this beauty. More axes. Here we can see an axe that looks like a griffin. The long sharp claws on the back of the blade and in the front looks to be the wings of the griffin. That is amazing. It looks to have a snake's tail, so it might not be what I think of as a griffin. And at the end of the tail is a three-headed snake. We have a beautifully crafted bow, probably out of gold or brass, with a lot of details. Same goes for this. It's not a spare. I've forgotten the name of these weapons and I'm sorry for that. But these really pointy ones to use. And a big shield encrusted with gemstones in the middle, in the sigil, having many layers around the core to build up the stability and the look of the item. Here we have a sword that looks to have been crafted out of all of the defeated enemies' weapons. This would be a really heavy item, and maybe more to put fear in the hearts of the enemies than it would be practical to tag along with you. You have just melted together every single weapon of your enemies that you have conquered. And here is a really, really long executioner's sword. It looks to be made of several different materials: iron, copper, gold, silver, maybe all of it, and a skite. I think the skite is probably a really popular weapon. Since it's quite long, you can reach far with it, further than with a sword maybe. But you have to hit right with the blade. Since the backside is usually pretty dull, you need to come from the front with it. And here we have the enemies. Just look at the shield of the first one. It has a tendril-like form coming out from the middle. It almost looks like a tentacle and it looks horrible. Just this picture is making me want to claw at it. I can't describe it. I really love this game, how they made it so you feel a certain way when you're looking at the characters and world building. This artwork might be a little bit older, maybe from the scratch, because you can see it's not as high res as the other pictures. So I wonder for how long this game has been planned to be made, and that's amazing. I love when you can see artwork that is from before the game was made instead of an afterthought. So look, here is a walking skeleton undead character with a crown and very royal, regal outfit. You can see it still wears the ring and the crown from back of its days, but the body has withered away. A lot of the foes have covered their faces, so you don't actually know how they look underneath. I think that's a great part of the Elden Ring, because most of the time when you first encounter the enemies, you don't know what afflicted them. Wrath or death or anything in between. Insanity and all. This enemy is wearing a spiked club in 2 pieces, attached by a ring. A very unpredictable weapon if you would fight against an enemy like this. You would have to calculate which way the club will swing, so you can dodge the impact. This is beautiful. Look at this huge shield and the huge axe of this knight on the horse. This poor horse must carry almost 200 kilos, including the knight. Such a strong animal. I can't even imagine what this shield would weigh. Especially in these hard metallic materials. Here we have a walking enemy. Looks to be a living house with a big bale underneath its stomach. And this little guy standing over here. The world building of this game is great. All of the enemies, or most of them, look quite disgusting. That's really nice. Here's a dragon bird looking creature, and one that looks like a tree ant, a corrupted piece of the Elden tree. And here is some of the demigods. This is Morgoth, right? With all of the horns, the big club, and the tail. Only thing I have to say about this demigod is that they missed out to making his toes have the same outgrowth as his head. That would make him look way more disgusting. And here is Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. The same character as on the front cover, with the big axe. They have very interesting characters. Here we have Malenia, the Blade of Micella. Here we can see her long blade. I really missed out on getting this figurine from the collector's edition set. I only got the book. But you can see her metal arm replacing the arm she lost to the rot. I love how they made her headpiece look like a Valkyrie. They had really interesting plans for this game. Here we have Radan as well, with the fiery red hair. The absolute bloodlust to conquer the world. I really enjoy how they mix up both male and females as demigods. And here's the last page of this book. Smithing inside of the fire. Such a shame that this book was so short. And even though they had a lot of beautiful artwork, they did not have any little small text with the lore. But that might be saved for other videos. I really enjoyed making this, and I hope you found it relaxing. Thank you for watching, and I will see